Am I the idiot for wanting to forgive one brother for having an affair with another brother's fiancée? Let me just start off and say I think cheating is deplorable. I have two brothers, John, 28, and Matt, 25. Around 3 years ago, our family exploded when it came out that Matt was having an affair with John's fiancée. A fiancée who was 6 months pregnant. Matt turned out to be the father. John was understandably humiliated and angry. I was fully on his side. I was disgusted with Matt and the fiancé. Here's my issue though. At John's insistence, Matt has pretty much been excommunicated from our family. He isn't allowed at any gatherings where John is. And John purposely makes sure he is at every one. Matt married John's ex-fiancée and are raising the 2.5-year-old together. To this day, Matt's wife is referred to as a whore and the baby is called a bastard. Only by John but in our family's presence. He hates them with a passion even today. My parents have really struggled with this but have agreed to follow John's rule of no contact with the wife or baby. Even contact with Matt is done in secret. Matt has been kicked out of our family business because John can't be in the same room as him. All photos of Matt have been hidden in the family home. No gifts have been given to Matt's child at all. Am I absolutely crazy to think that 3 years of this is enough? Matt is clearly remorseful and has apologized many times in tears. He clearly regrets hurting our brother. I can understand that John is absolutely hurt and it must have been the most painful betrayal. But I still love both my brothers. Matt did a shitty thing, but how much more does he need to be punished? My poor parents have been broken-hearted for the past 3 years because of this. They have confided in me that they are willing to forgive Matt and move on and regret letting it get this far. We were such a tight-knit family before. But I'm really worried that suggesting forgiveness with John will cause a massive fight and he'll make us choose between them. I also worry about his mental health. They're also the innocent child in this. He deserves a relationship with his grandparents and his aunt. I have recently been visiting Matt and his family. They are clearly struggling with the isolation. His wife broke down and apologized as I held my nephew for the first time. My heart tore in two. AITA for wanting to bring them into our family again and forgiving them? There is family reunion coming up in a week and I want them to attend. Comment 1. YTA. Why should he get over it? I mean, really, you feel bad for Matt? Matt is living with the consequences of doing one of the worst possible things he could have to your brother. He wants to approach John and beg for forgiveness, that's one thing, but you don't get to demand that Matt is allowed back in. Comment 2. It's better for the kid in this instance to be raised in a 2-parent home with married parents. I know that's not always true, but the only objection we know of against the marriage here is that John is understandably further betrayed by it. Uncle John isn't going to be in the kid's life either way, so from the kid's perspective he is irrelevant. What you're implying here is that Matt and wife should have placed their duty of loyalty to John over the best interests of their child. Obviously they shouldn't have cheated, but that ship has already sailed. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for yelling at my brother for cheating while he was finally accepting his sexuality? My brother, M30, and me, 38M, grew up in a very religious household. My father was all about good Christian family values, and yet, ironically, he cheated my mom all the time and he expected for us to accept it. I hated his guts, but my brother always tried to please him, to have his approval. When he was a teen, we shared a desktop computer and he sometimes forgot to delete his browser history. I noticed he went many gay support sites, so I thought he might be into guys. I never asked because A, it was his choice to tell me when he was ready, and B, I didn't care. He was my brother and I love him. I understood why he would keep it quiet though. If he came out when we were living with our father, I knew. Shh. Asterisk to would hit the fan. Years passed and he didn't came out even after losing contact with our dad. I thought that maybe he was just exploring his sexuality back then, or he was bi or whatever because he got a GF. And married her 5 years ago. This girl, let's call her Julie, is an angel. She got along with everyone and she became fast friends with my wife, who sees her as her little sister of sorts. I owe her a lot because she was instrumental into making my wife accept she needed help after going through a terrible postpartum depression. Fast forward to this week. Julie calls us sobbing and tells us my brother is cheating on her and that his lover is a male friend of his from work. This has been going on since 3 years ago or so. I went ballistic and I called him. I told him he was doing the same thing to Julie as our father did to our mom. My brother then tells me he was struggling with accepting he was gay all this time and that I should be more understanding. He accused me then I was so mad because he was gay and implied I was low-key discriminating him. I told him that cheating is cheating and that Julie doesn't deserve this. We haven't talked in days and I am starting to feel guilty. Maybe I should have been more tactful? I don't know, I just feel that cheating doesn't have a free pass at all. People in Reddit, AITA. Update. I sent him a lengthy email talking about how I suspected he was gay all this time and that I was sorry he felt he couldn't trust me. I explained to him I didn't care about his sexual orientation and that if I was mad, it because he cheated, nothing else. I told him I thought that his behavior toward Julie was reprehensible, not his preferences. I said he needed to apologize and the responsible of his actions. Maybe go to counseling with her so she could get closure? I don't know. Whatever he can do some good to her, it will be the right thing to do at this point. Edit to update and to clarify context about our living situation during the whole computer situation when he was a teen. Comment 1. Heck, I'm surprised took more than a few months. He slept with a dude, presumably willingly, and kept wanting to do it. That's basically the definition of queer. I can see maybe struggling to decide if it's gay or bisexuality for a while after that point. Still at 3 years you're well past the point where it's remotely understandable. Comment 2. He's not struggling with his sexuality at that point, that's an excuse, he's trying to have his cake and eat it. He gets gay sex whenever he fancies, while keeping the heterosexual family man facade. That way, he doesn't need to rock the boat with his dad, who he knows wouldn't accept him as a gay man, and lose his approval. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for kicking out my brother, who our parents have previously disowned, because he told my, now ex-fiancé that I cheated 9 years ago? For reference, my brother Connor is 19, I am 26, and my now ex-fiancé Hunter is 28. Also for reference, already mentioned in the title, but my brother was kicked out when he was 16 because our parents snooped through his phone and found out he was in gay. Connor had a birthday last weekend, so he invited his friends over and they were all 18 to 22-year-olds, drinking and playing games. Hunter and I were about to head out to let them have the place to themselves, when Connor asked if we wanted to join them. I initially refused, bit too old to be playing drinking games, but he insisted and Hunter thought it'd be fun to act like college students again. We all got pretty drunk and Connor had the idea of playing Never Have I Ever. A few rounds in, the statement, "Never have I ever cheated before," came up. Now's a good time to mention that Hunter is staunchly against cheating. His ex-fiancée cheated on him and it emotionally wrecked him. And unfortunately, as a lot of dumb, immature 17-year-olds do, I cheated on my boyfriend of 5 months. It was a stupid mistake, he found out, and, understandably, ended things. This was almost a decade ago, I obviously learned my lesson, and look back at that time with shame, and obviously never cheated since. Well, my brother knows about this, so when I didn't drink, he went, "Hey, sis, what the hell? You know you cheated on, insert X's name. You have to drink to that." My boyfriend paused, looked at me, looked at him, and just walked out of the room. I followed him and tried to talk to tell him that it was a stupid teenaged mistake, but he wasn't having any of it and ended things on the spot. I'm numb. I'm heartbroken. He was my everything and more, and I still don't know how I'm going to move on. Connor tried to apologize, but I feel nothing but sadness and emptiness. This morning I served him an eviction notice. He begged me to stay and said he didn't mean to ruin my relationship and he just didn't think when he said those words. I just can't look at him right now. He ruined my life. After I raised him and cared for him like he was my own. I feel so hurt. Am I being unreasonable?